Welcome to the season finale of No Slides Attached. I'm Fede Pacheco, one of your co-hosts, and it's been a blast to go over our AI Halo story and diving deeper into the co-pilots that Microsoft has built to help our partners and the individuals in the organizations achieve more.
Hey, I'm Helene Cohen, your other co-host for the podcast. I've personally loved hearing our partners share their leadership stories and how they've helped customers in so many different ways throughout their AI journey, and especially how they've led by example and become users of Copilot across all of their solution areas.
Speaking of which, Helene, I think we've asked every guest that we've had through this season what their favorite prompt is on Copilot, but I've never asked you about that. What is yours?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Fetty. Well, I think I every day I am like using something different, and every day something becomes more of my favorite. But one of my favorites is I'm a Clifton Strengths facilitator and coach, and a lot of times I'm trying to help people understand how to work better together. So I go into Copilot and I say, so and so has this strength, and so has this strength. How can they work better together? And Copilot comes back with, 4 or 5 suggestions on how somebody maybe who's more analytical and working with somebody who's more of a communicator can work better together. So it really gives you tangible things that you can walk away with and immediately start collaborating in a better manner.
Is that what you did with me when we started this project? You checked how it was?
Absolutely.
Well, I can also share mine, but as I was thinking about this, I'm thinking there's 2 actually, because I had one that I wanted to share really badly. But first, I'm going to share another one because just yesterday I realized that I could ask Copilot, if we were in a Star Wars universe, can you look at the way I interact with my teammates through emails and Teams chats and all that? Tell me what Star Wars character am I and my top 5 collaborators and what characters they are. And I'm not going to spoil what the answer was. I would encourage anybody to try with their own Copilot for work. What I'll say is I'm very disappointed I don't have the Force. But the real one that I wanted to share, it's actually very fitting to the story that we have today, which is building your own Copilots. Because as I try to study all the capabilities that our partners, customers, and everyone has in Azure, I always try to simplify it in the most easy way to understand. So what I do is I always tell it, hey, in the metaphorical world where Azure is pizza dough and we're just doing a bunch of pizzas in this world, explain to me this. Like, explain to me app modernization under this metaphor of Azure being the pizza dough. Or explain to me Azure Arc. Whatever it is, I can promise you, just by going through the metaphor, not only does Copilot really understand it well, but it really makes it easy to explain it to others later. Especially if you're doing a podcast about it, right? But yeah, as we're reaching our final episode, I just feel like that is the encouragement. We have the pizza dough. This is just the beginning. I'm an Azure guy. I love the platform, and we have an amazing partners and guests today that we're going to talk about this even more.
And I'm so excited today to have Maytal Weiner joining us. Maytal is a partner marketer in our go-to-market team. She's actually Fede's teammate, and she's my teammate as well. And over the past 5 years, she's had a variety of strategy roles, starting in our LATAM region and most recently for North America. I can tell you that I learned a lot from May, and I'm excited to have her here today.
Hey, welcome to No Slides Attached.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, as you saw, we always start asking people what their favorite prompt is on Copilot, and you call yourself May I, the combination of your name and AI, because you're basically the expert in our team and anything and everything AI. So we have to ask you, can you be the next one to tell us what their prompt is?
So I'm tempted to say that my new one might be the one around Star Wars. But I don't have a specific favorite prompts, but I can tell you that I use Copilot a lot when it comes to summarizing documents and extracting the most important insights of certain files. So anything around summarizing and obtaining insight is right up my alley.
I love it. May always has another tab in her browser with a course or a certification that she's taken. So I can imagine that's the best study guide you can ever have, May.
Yeah.
That is so true. All right. Well, May, we're going to jump in with you and start with our first question. Can you tell us a little bit about, what is our framework for customizing AI applications?
Yeah, great question. So currently we're offering different pathways for you to leverage the Copilot stack, right? So first, you can easily manage, deploy, customize Microsoft Copilot to fit your business needs or requirements with Copilot Studio, right? Copilot Studio is an end-to-end conversational AI platform for extending or building your own Copilot. Our second one is you can harness those same services and platform that yourself using Azure AI Studio to build your own Copilot. So Microsoft offers a range of different options depending on where your company stands, right? So I really like how we develop services thinking about different companies.
Yeah, I love it too. The fact that we led by example and build all these copilots, but also, as our mission states, we want to empower everybody to build their own. You touched on the two sides, right? The AI Studio and one end with Azure. I want to go first to the Copilot Studio because that might be a new concept for many of our listeners. Can you tell us more about that one?
Yeah. And if this is the first time you're hearing about this, I'm excited to be the first person to tell you. But Copilot Studio is basically a low-code tool to customize Microsoft Copilot, right? Copilot Studio makes it incredibly easy for you to tailor Microsoft Copilot to your own business processes and workflows using different pre-built plugins, right? One of the great things about Copilot Studio is that you don't need to be a very advanced developer or data scientist in order to leverage Copilot Studio. Since it's a low-code tool, basically anyone can use it, right? Personally, the three things that I like the most about this tool is number one, it allows you to connect other data using pre-built or custom plugins. This is fantastic because you can use third-party as well as you can use Microsoft in-house SaaS applications. Second, it enables you to create and orchestrate logic. So your Copilot experiences function in the way that you want them. And as you know, for Microsoft, security is super, super key. So third is that you manage it all. This is your data, so IT stays in your control. So your Copilot end users get the most optimal experience with the most relevant and accurate information.
It's amazing that I've heard we have over 1,100 different extensions that we can apply and plugins. Is there anyone, just to make it a little more tangible for people listening, and any use case that really stands out across those benefits that you mentioned?
Yeah, and actually, according to Build last week, it's not 1,100 anymore; it's 1,500, right? So we're just going up, and these plugins are fantastic because they enhance your Copilot experience, bringing all of the relevant data your business functions need or use. In terms of use cases, we've seen many. We've seen, content generation. We've seen agents, etc. But a specific case that I read recently was around PayPal. So PayPal, for those who are not familiar with PayPal is a financial platform, right? And using Copilot Studio, PayPal was able to develop and deploy the functionality of this tool within weeks instead of months. Since they've deployed this, they've seen not only reduction costs, but they've seen optimization in their different processes. So Copilot Studio has a wide range of use cases. This is definitely one of my favorite, but I suggest that you dig in more according to the different industry that you're in and the type of company that you have.
So in a summary, it has the Azure pizza dough, but it also has some cheese and maybe another topping on top.
Exactly.
But more importantly, it has security, which I heard you mention, which all of our guests have mentioned. May, can you tell us about building your own Copilot with the Copilot development stack?
Yes. So the pace of innovation at Microsoft in terms of AI has been definitely incredible. And the reason why we've been able to move at such a fast pace is because we built Microsoft Copilot on top of our own platform, right? So Azure AI. When it comes to the different model choices, Azure AI Studio, which works to develop your own Copilot, gives you the ability to choose from hundreds of models in the model catalog, or the ability to leverage different models as a service, right? The cool thing too is that you can experiment and evaluate models with intuitive benchmarking based on, industry leading data or even your own. When I look at Azure AI Studio, it really is a workload that makes it easier and faster to build your own applications. Historically, applications have been very constrained in terms of, interactions. They are hard-coded. They have fixed data sets. Normally, they're very costly to operate and maintain. But now, with solutions like Azure AI Studio, you have the ability to create intelligent applications which have even more natural language interaction. These are data-driven, personalized, and the best thing of all is that you can quickly deliver new features because you're already on this fantastic platform called Azure AI Studio.
That is so exciting. And I want to pick on that intelligent application part that you were mentioning, because a couple of days ago, we were talking about the modernizing applications opportunity and why that is one of the biggest opportunity for our partners. So can you tell us what is that and how does that look like?
Yes. So building your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio is fantastic because you can leverage it into your own existing applications or build these capabilities into the applications that you're building from the ground up, right? The benefit of using this is that you have full control of leveraging all of these latest AI models to whatever you see fit. There's different use cases around this, from virtual assistants responding in an instant and providing accurate response to customer queries, to content generations, which we know that as marketers and strategists, these are time consuming and resource intensive, right? When I look at the opportunity specifically, apps are at the centerpiece of our digital economy, and data has become our currency. So for partners, it is very important to have in mind that when we look at data, we need to deliver exceptional performance. We need to meet different demands and handle unpredictable traffic patterns and be able to manage different data types, from unstructured data like sensor data and different files to more structured data like your bread and butter databases. And the great thing about Azure is that we have solutions that help you with the issues of managing the right type of data. So we have things like Microsoft Fabric, which was announced last May, that brings together all of an organization's data and analytics in one place. It brings the best of things like Power BI, Azure Synapse, and Azure Data Factory into one single, software as a service platform. There are many benefits for our partners, starting that this is a very, very vast market. Last time I checked, this was one of the largest total addressable markets that we have. And there are many different benefits, not only for the partners, but for the accounts too, from delivering faster time to market, creating innovative applications, and also bettering customer and employee experience. So really, I think that the ability to use Copilot and Azure AI Studio has had a remarkable impact, and it's democratizing knowledge and information and expertise around the world. And it's fantastic.
May, thank you so much for putting it so clear and so simple for our non-technical and technical audience. it really is excited to go full circle here and think about not only what we've built, but what we can build together in the future with our partners and customers. I love that you picked on how big this opportunity is and you looked at it specifically for our Americas region, right? Throughout the Americas region, all those applications that need to modernize or to be built from scratch, and how many of our partners can have enough of that, if I may use it for one last time, a piece of that pizza pie.
It is truly fantastic. And again, I really love how Microsoft builds these amazing solutions, thinking of everyone, thinking of companies that might not have very advanced IT headcount and can use low code to no code solutions, to big enterprises that have very advanced technical headcount that can use more advanced solutions that have more sophisticated plugins, right? So really, this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone out there. And I can't wait to see what you do with all of these things that we're creating.
Thank you so much, May, and thank you for coming and bringing all of your vast May knowledge with all of us.
Thank you so much. This has been a fantastic opportunity, and I can't wait to see all of the fantastic things that our partners do in the next fiscal year.
And now our final partner conversation in the first season of No Slides Attached is with GigXR. GigXR is a global provider of holographic and AI-powered healthcare training. We published a joint case study about the impact of GigXR's solution for healthcare professionals and how they're using it to democratize training with the power of AI.
We are so fortunate to have Jared Murmay here, the CEO of the company. Jared, welcome to No Slides Attached.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here today to talk to both of you.
Awesome. Well, Jared, throughout this season, we've had amazing conversations about our different co-pilots and their impact across roles and industries. This final episode, we focused on how partners like GigXR are building or enhancing their own solutions with the latest AI technologies to help others achieve more. Before we jump into your exciting story, we've been asking everybody one question, and that question is, what is one Copilot prompt that you can't live without?
That's such an exciting question. I'm sorry that I don't have such a boring answer for you for something. I mean, with so many Copilots and so many ways to use them popping up left and right these days, I actually find myself using it with frequency, something as simple as ChatGPT, right? And using it to answer simple questions where I need something more than a search result. So perhaps I'm working on a legal document and I don't want to go ask a lawyer a question and, of course, take on the expense that getting that quick question answered might come with. I have found ChatGPT to be an incredible resource there with all the right disclaimers and caveats that doesn't replace your lawyer, but to get really good answers for the simpler things on that front.
That's awesome. And especially, like you're saying, getting a quick answer and exploring your curiosity or any help that you need. Thanks for sharing that with us, Jared. Now, we do want to jump into GigXR and tell us about GigXR first, and especially what is a problem that you as an organization are looking to solve?
Sure. GigXR has been around for about 5 years. We have a platform that deploys all type of hyper-realistic training for doctors and nurses, and of course, students in medical school and nursing school to help them upgrade their skills or learn new skills. Our original focus was using mixed reality. So we built a lot of products, for example, for the Microsoft HoloLens, where our users, again, doctors, nurses, students, could see holographic patients or holographic anatomy or anything healthcare related holographic to teach and train to replace the need or to augment their use of cadavers or mannequins called patient simulators, or to replace human actors who come in to pretend to be patients. So learners can hone their skills around bedside manner or verbal assessment. What the biggest question we always received from our customers were when they saw our really realistic holograms was, can I talk to them, right? And we wanted to facilitate free-form dialogue just the way you and I are having here today on this podcast, right? We didn't want to have a list of questions and map canned answers. That's not the way that your doctor talks to you or a nurse talks to you. We wouldn't be training them in a way that is hyper-realistic, which is our brand, right? So the problem we're solving is using AI to replace the need to hire an actor, perhaps, or replace some other suboptimal ways that our users, our customers are facilitating these type of dialogues where to make a mannequin talk, a teacher might be a voice coming from the other side of a PA system or a one-way mirror to try and make it seem like that, right? We want what you see to talk to you the way you and I are talking. And we've specifically created copilots and trained AI to think like a variety of what are called standardized patients, right? These patients that portray certain types of diseases or pathologies.
So how do we know we're talking to the real Jared here?
I was just going to say that.
I guess the short answer is we don't, but perhaps we're all living in a simulation anyway. It might not matter.
So, Jared, tell us a little bit more about what you built with Azure OpenAI and the impact it had for the training medical professionals and for the healthcare industry.
Sure. So we're leveraging a lot of Azure services and, of course, OpenAI on Azure. If you think about it, what we're sort of facilitating is really speech to speech. I say something to you, and the AI says something back to me. The persona or the intelligence of the AI is but a bit of that round trip that we have to make from taking what I say, turning that speech into text, where we're using Azure services, to do that, taking that text, running it through trained OpenAI models, each of which thinks like different patients, and then taking that return from OpenAI and turning it into something I can hear, right? Text to speech that has a little personality and pizzazz and could also be multilingual, right? So we're leveraging your translation services too. So we've done a lot of work, and thankfully that work is made easier by Azure and the services it provided to facilitate that round trip. And we want to make sure that round trip happens as fast as possible, right? When I'm done finishing my question, we want that answer to come as quickly as possible. If there's a big gap there, you lose the realism. And we've done a lot of hard work to make that happen. And again, that work is more possible because of the resources that Azure makes available.
It's lovely to hear that you're leveraging the Azure resources. And that leads me to my next question, which is why did you choose Microsoft as your partner to build this solution?
Great question. Well, there are two categories I would throw answers to that question. Number one is admittedly a little bit of convenience. We've been a Microsoft Gold partner on the mixed reality side, both on the commercial and the federal sides of your business. So we've been fortunate enough to have incredible relationships with Microsoft over the years. I think secondly, though, is how we think about your investment in AI and how we can grow with it, right? With so many AI resources coming out, so many LLMs coming out, and so on, picking the right vendor, you need to think who's going to be with you long-term and who's going to let you grow long-term. So when we look at the commitment that Microsoft is making both directly and through its partnerships with folks like OpenAI, it's very obvious you're very serious about doing this for the long run. And number two, as we start to think about its applicability in the US government, where we've got a lot of interest for this product and customers using other products that we have, we start to think about things like, are you certified for FedRAMP? Do you have pathways to get authorities to operate, ATOs? And Microsoft and OpenAI have done a lot of great work on that front, which will reduce any burden on GigXR to stand up a government customer, right? So we think you're serious, and we think you've done a lot of the legwork, and we think you've put us in a position to grow. And I don't think you're going away anytime soon, given your investment in everything you've put into AI heretofore.
Yeah, thank you for that. And obviously the underlying takeaway that I just got from what you were saying is security, right? And the importance of security, which has been a common theme with really everybody we've interviewed, for the whole series of no slides attached. So Jared, can you tell us a little bit about the impact specifically for your organization?
So we've already taken these AI personas that we've built and we've put it into our platform standard development kit. right? So our platform standard development kit now has a library of these trained patients trained on top of Azure models, where I guess the proprietary layer for us is that training on top of your models. And now any of our applications can actually leverage that aspect of our development tools. So this AI and all these patient personas we've built can persist into web applications that we've already built. They will be persisting into, of course, our headset applications and mobile applications, not only for Gig XR, but also for third-party developers. We have third-party developers leveraging our SDK to access trained models on top of OpenAI, which is pretty killer, because together, between Microsoft and Gig XR, we've satisfied the use case. And we are enabling that use case to persist into a bevy of immersive experiences, web experiences, mobile experiences, so it can make its way into curricula across medical schools, hospitals, nursing schools, et cetera, in the way that they want it, right? It's not forcing one fixed way to use it down their throat. Rather, it's allowing them to adopt this type of technology in a way that's flexible and will ultimately be used, which is, of course, what everybody wants.
That is so exciting to hear. As you know, our mission is to empower everybody to achieve more. And having GigXR being part of that and helping all healthcare professionals all around the globe with that vision means so much to us. Jared, with this expertise and everything that you've learned, we have to ask you, what advice would you give to any organization in any field who is considering building their own AI and Copilot solutions?
Yeah, I think the key, and this is probably something similar to building most anything, but you have to be especially thoughtful here, is just think about the full use case, right? Think about everything front to back before you start to actually go in and bang keyboards and start to code. And once you have that figured out, the actual execution is not terribly difficult and allows you to provide the utility that we're describing. So, before we talked about the utility that GigXR is getting out of it, I think it's also important to emphasize what our customers, those nursing schools and medical schools and hospitals, are getting out of it too. Because now they're going to get the ability to practice verbal assessment, bedside manner, anything that has to do with talking to a prospective patient, and perhaps talking to other types of stakeholders that one runs into in the medical facility. They're going to be able to do that 24/7 on demand. They're going to be able to do that anywhere. So instead of having to hire an actor or having to be co-located around one of these mannequins or anything of that nature, they'll be able to just pull their phone out and in their living room, just put a patient there and talk to it, right? And when you think about what that impact will be on society, if we can upskill, cross-skill, maintain skill for all these folks, that just leads to a healthier world. And that's really, really exciting.
First of all, thank you so much, Jared. Your experience and your advice has been truly amazing. What a way for us to wrap up the first season of No Slides Attached. Thank you for sharing your story with us today. I'm really excited to see what else GigXR brings to the medical industry, and we will definitely stay tuned to what's next.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a great time speaking with both of you, and us too. We're looking forward to seeing what this new world will provide to everybody.
Thank you, Jared. And Helene, I can't believe we're concluding our very first season. It feels like it was just yesterday when we were in our first episode talking to Heather about the best questions to ask in your first AI conversation with a customer. And we've gone full circle talking about building your own Copilot and the impact that it brings to organizations that like GigXR and what they're doing right now and what they will do in the future. What a journey it's been with just 6 episodes. Thank you, our listener, for following along and investing your time with us. We sincerely hope that we've been able to accomplish our mission to give you a breather from everyday emails, meetings, and presentations, and added some really inspiring stories to your day.
And if you're feeling inspired, we encourage you to take the next step. Every episode is accompanied by a summary of links and references to help you learn more. This includes our partner case studies for you to read more about their amazing stories, additional resources on the co-pilots and all the technologies that we have mentioned throughout the episodes. And of course, learning content for you and your teams to take your organization to the next level, of course, along with our partnership.
And speaking of partnership, we are now in full design mode for season 2 of No Slides Attached. And we want to hear from you. What do you think of our first episode? What do you think of our first season? What do you want to see next? And what is most important to you? Helene, can you remind us how to get in touch with the Microsoft community for partners?
Of course, the very best way to stay in touch is to join almost 15,000 partners in our LinkedIn community. You can find it on noslidesAttached.com or by searching for Microsoft America's Partner Community on LinkedIn. Your comments and feedback are encouraged and greatly appreciated to continue to be your voice and tell your stories. And if you do reach out through LinkedIn, please attach a hashtag and No Slides Attached so that we can get back to you and continue the conversation.
Once more, thank you for tuning in to No Slides Attached, and we hope to hear from you soon. We hope today's conversations have ignited fresh perspectives and inspired you to take new opportunities in this changing landscape of AI.
Stay tuned for more insights and stories on No Slides Attached. Be sure to listen in and follow us at noslidesAttached.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.